Hello, ladies and gentlemen. This is Dr. Robinson again, and we're going to continue our studies. We are talking about quadratic equations. A quadratic equation is an equation that has a variable raised to the second power. For example, x squared equals 9, or x squared plus 5x equals 24, x squared plus 5x plus 6 equals 0. Most quadratic equations have two solutions. One-step quadratic equations. If a quadratic equation is in the form of x squared equals c, the exponent can be eliminated by taking the square root of both sides. Generally, there are two answers. One's positive and the other is negative. For example, x squared equals 25. If we take the square root of both sides, what happens is the exponent of 2 and the square root, they're opposites. They cancel each other out, leaving us with what's left on the inside of the just the letter itself, just the x. And over here on the right side, we have a square root sign around the number, which is 25 in this case, and we take the square root of 25, which is positive or negative 5. So take the square root of both sides of the equation. Here's an example for us to try. So let's give it a shot. Okay, so solve for all values of x that satisfy the equation x squared equal 26. Round off your answer to the nearest tenth. Okay, so what we're going to do is we're going to do like the steps said. We're going to rewrite our equation first and take the square root of both sides. So the square root will cancel out the exponent of 2. So this will cancel out, and the little 2 will cancel out, so that's gone, leaving us with just the x, and we'll be left with the positive or negative value of the square root of 26. Now they want us to round off our answer to the nearest tenth. So that means we're going to need a calculator. So let's get our calculator up and do it. So let's see, second x squared, that gives us the square root button, type 26, close your parenthesis so nothing else gets in there, press enter, and we get a big long number, 5.09, and all of that other stuff, so I'll just pull this out. So that's our answer, but it's not rounded off to the nearest tenth. If you remember, tenth is the one decimal place after the decimal. So we have 5.09, which is what we'll take as part of our answer. And now let's round it off. So here is the tenths place right here. So we want to round that off to there. So we remember, if it's 5 or above, the number next to it, we give this a shove up. If it's 4 or below, we leave it alone. So I'm going to shove this up by 1 and let this go. And this will give me x equals, and remember it's positive or negative 5.1. So that'll be our answer. So let's check. And there we go. X equals positive or negative 5.1. So x squared equals 26. Remember, take the square root of both sides. And you may have to use a calculator for some of these. So remember, you have a positive value and a negative value as well. And they'll sometimes ask you to round it off to something. So that was a good question. Here's one for you to try. See if you get it right. If you get it right, great. If you don't, rewatch the tape and check it out again and write down your questions and bring them in. So I hope you understand what's going on so far. So let's take it a step further. Solve for all values of x that satisfy the equation x squared plus 5 equals 54. Well, this is like a regular equation that we would normally deal with. So let's tackle it like we would tackle an equation. So I'm going to rewrite it. Equal 54, and now I'm going to use my additive inverse to get rid of the 5 on that side and this will cancel out, leaving me with x squared equals 49, because 54 minus 5 is 49. So now all I have to do is take the square root of both sides, because remember, the square root is how we get rid of the exponent. So that'll be gone, leaving us with x squared, just x, sorry, and our answer will be positive negative square root of 49. So x is going to be equal to positive or negative 7. And that is our answer. So we found all values that satisfy. Remember, there are two answers. It could be x equals 7 or negative 7. So again, we subtracted to get the square root, the exponent by itself, and that way we can isolate it, and we have the square root to get rid of that exponent and take the square root of both sides, and we have x equals positive and negative 7. Good question. So here's one for you to try. See if you can isolate the x squared by itself and then take your square root, and hopefully you get the answer. Check your understanding. I hope everything's going well with you so far. If you're still uncertain, write down your questions, bring them in. Now here's an interesting one. Solve for the negative value of x that satisfies the equation. Okay, we got a little bit longer equation here, and let's try to deal with it. So let's rewrite it down here, because we don't like writing over the equation in case we mess up. And I'm going to do the same steps that I've been doing all along. I'm going to put a very big square root around that and a square root around the 25, because what that does, it cancels out the exponent for us, leaving us with just the x plus 1 on this side equals the square root, and don't forget, positive or negative, of 25. All right, so let's look at this now. So we have x plus 1 is going to be equal to a positive or negative square root of 25 is 5. Now, we didn't solve for x yet, so let's do a little bit of work here. Now we got our answer could be equal to positive or negative 5. So I'm going to split this into two problems. X plus 1 equals positive 5, and x plus 1 equals negative 5. Why did I split it? Because I have two answers here. One's positive and one's negative. So let's solve for x now. So let's minus 1 from both sides. And our 1's will cancel out over here, leaving us with x equals 5 minus 1, which is 4. So that's one of the answers. Let's do the other side. So minus 1 from both sides, minus 1. And the 1's will cancel out, leaving us with x equals negative 5 minus 1. That'll give us negative 6. So there are our two answers. X equals 4, and x is equal to negative 6. So either one of those will satisfy this equation. So again, I put my square root around that expression on the left side to cancel out the x squared, and the square root on the right side as well. Then I solved it for the square root of 25, which gave me two answers. One is positive, one is negative 5. And then I solved each equation. I split it up because there was a positive answer and a negative answer for the square root of 25. So x plus 1 equals positive plus 5, and x plus 1 equals negative 5. And when I solved it, I got 4 for the first one and negative 6 for the second one. So they wanted the negative answer for this question, so our answer would be negative 6. So this was a really good question. All right, here's one for you. Find the positive value this time that satisfied the equation. Check your understanding. I hope everything is going well. If not, you may need to write down some questions and bring them in tomorrow. But watch the video again. Maybe you'll get a second time. Find all the values of x which satisfy the equation. So we have x squared minus 3x equal negative 2. We have to get this equation into what's called standard form. Standard form is ax squared plus bx plus c equals 0. So we want to, in other words, set this equal to 0. So let me make this x squared minus 3x. And what I'm going to do here is put a plus 2 over here and over here to cancel this out to make that equal to 0. And I'll have on this side a plus 2 and equal to 0. So now I got to solve this. How do we solve this when we're looking for x? We factor. And if you haven't seen my videos on factoring, check them out. All right, so let's factor. We got x in the first part of each parenthesis, and now we have to look for two numbers that will multiply to give you positive 2 and also give you a sum of negative 3. Well, I know 2 times 1 is a prime number, so it's got to be 2 and 1, and I want to get positive 2, so I could say both are positive, but my middle number would have to add up to a negative, so I gotta say it's got to be negative, because negative 2 plus negative 1 is negative 3. Now I'm almost done. All I have to do is split this in two parts. I have x minus 2, solve that, equal to 0, and I got x minus 1, solve that, equal to 0, because whether each x, if I can know it, if this part is 0 and 0 times whatever this other side is, that'll be equal to 0 when we multiply, because 0 property. And or if the other side is whatever x is, that ends up making this equal to 0 multiplied by this side, that'll be 0. So I'm going to solve for x. So my 2's will cancel out, leaving me with x is equal to positive 2. There's one answer. That'll work. And I'm going to solve this one for x as well. So positive 1, let me get a color. Positive 1, positive 1. Our 1's will cancel out, leaving us with x equal to positive 1. So we have our two answers there. Our answers that satisfy this equation would be x equal positive 2 as well as x equal positive 1. And there we have it. So look at what we did, how we got it in standard form, and then we factored, and then we solved each one of these for x. Good question. Here's one for you. Find the larger value of the equation below. Check your understanding. Hope all is going well. Now here's a nice looking question. This time we don't have an exponent of 2. We have a square root there already. And we have to find the solution set. So we got to figure out what answers will make this true. So let me write this down here. Negative 10 plus 7p equal to p. So I'm going to multiply this whole thing by the opposite of square rooting, which is squaring. So I'm going to square both sides, because what that does, it cancels out the square root. So this will be canceled out, leaving me with what's left inside, the negative 10 plus the 7p. And on this side I have p squared. Now let me get it in standard form, and I like the positive p there, so let me move the minus 10 over to the other side, and the negative 7p, move that over to this side, so I'll have negative 7p plus 10. And this will cancel out over here, and this will cancel out, leaving me with 0 on this side equals to p squared minus 7p plus 10. So now I have to factor this out and figure out what is P. So let's factor. So let's draw a couple sets of parentheses, make it equal to 0, and of course we're going to put the letter P in here first. And now I'm looking for two numbers that multiply to give you 10, as well as add up to give you negative 7. Well, 5 and 2 come to my mind, because 5 times 2 is 10. And now I'm looking to add them up to give me a negative, so that means they both better be negative to make that add up to negative 7. But at the same time, when you multiply negative 5 times negative 2, that gives you positive 10. So let's now solve this for P. So we'll split this in two pieces. P minus 5 equals 0, and P minus 2 equals 0. So add 5, and we get P, this cancels out, equals positive 5. That's one answer. And now plus 2, the 2's cancel out, leaving us with P equals 0 plus positive 2, positive 2. Those are the solution sets numbers for this expression, 5 and 2. So we're getting good work out here. So here's one for you. Find the solution set of this one, see if you can work it out. Hope the lesson was easy and pretty good for you. Here's a few challenge me problems. So if you want to get into a challenge, here's a couple questions for you. Find the solutions to these, give you multiple choice. Here's another one for you. Find the solution set to this one. And here's another one. Find the smaller value of the solution set. No, smaller value this time. Find the solution set for this one. This one's really good. I see decimals and fractions there. So watch us on YouTube. Look me up. Dan Robinson is my name. Watch our latest math video release, PKMS Math Prep 17, not 16. 16 is very good, but 17 is a good movie also. So tweet us at drobmath1, and we'll be glad to hear from you. So I hope you enjoyed the video. If you would like a copy of the worksheet on this topic, write me at robinsonmath@aol.com, and I'll be glad to send you something. So I hope you enjoyed the video. Hope you got something out of it. I will see you next time. Bye.